Hello, everyone. I don't have a script ready today, but I know that I want to show you how I use my daily pages on my journal. I love to show you guys a nice little candle because it's giving cozy vibes. But I just want to show you how I do my daily pages and where I put different things in my journal so that if you want to follow along and do the same thing, you can. And also just to give you a helpful overview of how I do it, which I think is a very simple and sustainable way to do it. It's not too overwhelming or anything like that. I don't think it's intimidating. I like to start off, this is something that I've started doing lately. I have these little lowercase letter stamp sets. And I really like using them for my breakfast, lunch, and dinner tracker that I've decided to put in my daily pages. So every time I do a new spread, which for me it's only 4 days long, I'll just pull out my brown marker or whatever is matching with my spread, and I will just use that on my stamps and put them down. It helps me to keep things looking a little bit more cohesive. I don't know if you noticed, but whenever I put my stickers down, I kind of did a little bit of a pattern where, one's in the corner, then one's at the bottom, then one's in the middle, but they're always either on the side or in the middle of where I have some intersecting parts. And here I'm just documenting what I had for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And then I also like to put anything special that's happening, like I have trash and recycle that has to go out on Thursday to make sure that I take out the recycling bin and not the bulk trash. And then underneath my, in my second section, I like to write down my to-do list. And I loosely use the key from like the bullet journal that started by the main person who started the bullet journal, which I'll insert their name in here. I try to use the dot for the bullet. I like to get a map color that's in a kind of cream color and do some little margins because then they're not very obvious, but it helps me to keep my columns more straight. And then the last, I don't know, about inch and a half of my page, that's where I like to put my gratitude section. So I'll write like a sentence or two of things I'm grateful for. If I feel like I'm filling it up more, then I'll give myself more space in the future, and I'm starting to see that. So here I'm just letting you know what I use this section for. Underneath my meal tracker, I like to put appointments down. In the section underneath that main square, I like to put my to-do list. And underneath that, and also just kind of mixed together, sometimes it'll be a to-do list mixed with notes as I go through the day. I just have my book open and I'll write special notes, like if my son or daughter did something noteworthy that I want to document for the day, or if something special happened or something that's out of the ordinary happened that day, I'll just write a little note with a dash and then the note right after. And it just helps me to remember what was going on that month. If I'm looking back in my journal and I'm trying to remember, oh, when was it that this happened? I can just look in my journal and it will be in there. So I can make notes on here. That. I'm just filling out what I had for breakfast today. My favorite is sausage, egg, and cheese. It's just a go-to, super easy for me to make on the skillet, even though sometimes it gets a little too hot and I get a little bit too, I don't know if it's like lazy with the eggs, but it's really hard for me to make the cast iron skillet be nonstick. If you guys have any advice you can give me on how to make a skillet, a cast iron skillet, non-stick, like sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. I don't know, just help me out there. And right there, I just wrote an appointment of some errand that I had to run, which here it's youth night, so at a certain time we're going to have to leave. And then down here, I'm just writing that, I do gratitudes there on the bottom. And I like to just write a sentence or two of what I'm grateful for. And honestly, it's become one of the favorite parts of journaling. Even if I forget, I'll go back the next day and I'll just remember what happened in the day and remember what I'm grateful for. And it's usually going to be about my children or my family. And speaking of children, my baby is in my lap right now and she's playing with my stationery. And that's okay because I love my baby and I love my stationery. So I have a lot of things that I love around me. And that's another thing that I can be grateful for. So I'm just enjoying writing a little bit more in my gratitude section. And then I will move on into my to-do list and just special notes that I have coming up for the day. And I don't get too caught up in how straight my letters are today, mainly because my baby's in my lap, and I'm shooting a video. So it's a little bit difficult to keep the angle of the notebook so that you guys can see it straight and also have her in my lap and keep the book far enough away from her so she's not grabbing my pen. So I apologize for it being a little bit crooked, but sometimes that's just how it goes. I have practiced my lettering previously, so I do have a format that I like to write in whenever I'm writing with my fountain pens. And my two favorite inks are Sherwood Green by Diamine and also this brown color that I'm using today, which is sort of a mystery ink. I couldn't tell you the name of the ink because honestly I create this one myself by mixing two different inks, but I wouldn't recommend doing that with your fountain pens because sometimes fountain pens will be more sensitive to different mixes of things, and I wouldn't want you to clog up your pen. I haven't had any trouble with it in mine. This is already the third time that I have refilled it with the same mixture of ink. So far so good, but it's kind of still, I guess, in the testing phases. And this is my favorite pen, at least one of my favorite pens. The other one is the Cafe Bronze one. But right now, this is the one that I've been using because it has the brown ink and it matches with the February spread that I've designed. Well, that's it for today. I hope that you enjoyed this video. Remember to like and subscribe, and I will talk to you later. Bye.